Well, good morning, everyone. As I always say, but with our guest today, Brady Heath, it actually is morning for him. It's just cracked 8 a.m. I just so you know, I am Daniel G. Taylor. I am the CEO and founder of Mayor Marketing Agency, and I'm also a digital, I'm also a marketing strategist and a copywriter. And similarly, our guest Brady is the CEO and founder of Boundless Wellbeing, and he's also he's also a health and fitness coach. So over to you, Brady. Please tell us, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. So.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here. So Boundless Wellbeing is a company I founded about 2 years ago, really in the initial building phases of, understanding the market, really connecting with, the various aspects that are required to build a business. And that's quite a complex endeavor, but it's been really, a beautiful journey so far. And I live in North Carolina in the United States, and health and fitness is definitely one of my highest values in my life. It's something that I'm very inspired by, and really hoping to inspire the world, inspire others around me to empower themselves in their well-being and take control of their health. And hopefully I can offer a lot of meaningful value along the way. So
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, yeah, no, just you mentioned like highest values of being inspired and stuff like that. So Brady and I met, I think it was last year, in one of Dr. John DeMartini's sort of advanced programs. That's how we actually met. So, we've got that sort of commonality there around that understanding. If you know Dr. DeMartini's work, it's all about identifying your highest values or your top priorities in life as evidenced by what your life is demonstrating, and and then basing your life around those things. So we're going to circle around a little bit here. So talk a little bit about how did you come to John's work, which will lead back into sort of our discussion around connecting the values back and and everything.
Yeah, I came across John's work. I'm a pretty avid reader in the personal development space, and I think just exploring myself, seeking to understand my own circumstances, my own situation, and as well as why I felt the way I felt, where all of this was leading. So these questions were inspiring me to look into, different books. And I then came across, after reading his book, The Breakthrough Experience, I went on to do his values determination exercise. And that was about 2 years ago that I completed my first values determination. And, the idea is you do it every 3 months so that you can gradually see your evolving goals and strategies and whether you're staying on task, and also see that your evolving values throughout life. And that's essentially how I came across his work, and I had a very transformational experience interacting with his book and his some of his online courses, and then attending his not in person, it was online, but his in-person workshops. All of them were very profound tools that have assisted me in getting a lot more clarity around my purpose and why I'm here, and living on purpose, and waking up feeling inspired, knowing what I'm doing and knowing the next steps, so to speak, that I feel inspired to take.
Yeah. Yeah. So you did the breakthrough experience online.
Yeah.
I was I wondered how that would go. Just like I've done it in person twice. Like in person, as in like
Yeah.
not online, but actual like a physical event. So like I know that obviously I know through the pandemic, Dr. Limatini has been doing those events through he's been doing them online, but I just I've wondered how it goes. I mean, obviously you got the breakthrough and stuff, and so it still works. But so what year did you do breakthrough experience?
I think it was last year.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I was at the beginning. Well, so I did it at the end of 2021, and then 2022, immediately after that, I participated in. So 2022 was a huge year for me with regards to really unpacking a lot of his work, applying the method to my own life, working with other coaches, having conversations with you and other individuals who are interested in utilizing the work. But so at the end of 2021, I took the breakthrough, and then in 2022, I took master planning, synchronicity, and got my certification as the DeMartini method
Yeah.
facilitator certification. So I'm a certified facilitator for the
Yeah.
DeMartini method.
Yeah. No. Well, that's great. I mean, just my I've been a DiMartini student since 2008. And I've been going to I'd been going to his evening events and his like in person evening events and everything. And then it was in 2018 that I did the breakthrough experience for the first time, and then I did it again in 2019. And I came to the breakthrough experience. I experienced trauma in my childhood, and doing the breakthrough experience and stuff. I've been to other sort of motivational events, very famous ones, where they're motivational events. They pump you up and have very high energy in the moment, but within a couple of days, that energy is completely gone, and you go back. Life goes back to the way it was. Now, when you come to the breakthrough experiences, people haven't been there and don't know what we're talking about. You bring like a relationship with someone. You bring a person that you perceive you have a particular challenge with, things you haven't let go, whatever, and you do the DiMartini method on that person. And for me, I had someone from my childhood who I perceived to be the most challenging person in my childhood, and I used to describe this person as the worst thing in my life and all that kind of stuff. And since since doing the breakthrough experience, that has permanently changed. I no longer have any like I don't have any emotional charge to that person. Like at the experience, I came to love this person and appreciate them fully and see the role they played in my life. And so yeah, it was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it's lasted. It's lasted. That was 2008. That's 5 years ago. 5 years ago now, and it's still lasted. I don't have, it's yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I think the essence is like you're being taught how to use your own mind,
yeah,
how to use your own ability to ask questions
yeah,
around the thoughts that you're having and the perceptions that you're having, rather than assuming that all of your perceptions are true immediately. You ask a balancing question that then allows you to see the other side. If you're willing, right? Because I remember I was in the workshop and the statement, he shared this quote, and it was, Oh man, I thought I lost you there.
No,
My
I'm still
my
here.
screen turned black for a second.
Ah,
But like something along the lines of, the truth will appear for those who are ready to see it.
mhm,
And so for the longest time, right, that was a story that both of us were telling ourselves, but we were ready to see life in a different way. So yeah, I think you summed it up with the word extraordinary. It was definitely something I wanted more and more of after
mm,
that.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah. So, but let's circle back a bit more and like sort of drill down into sort of like I know, for example, that you've got a master's in physical science, and well, now my computer wants to go to sleep. I know that you've got that background. Obviously, you just got to, you can see just the top part of your body. We can see on the screen. We can see you're in good physical shape and stuff like that. So, how did you like come to develop this interest in health and fitness in the first place, and to the degree that you went and studied it formally, and yeah, talk about that, please.
Yeah, so the health thing came a lot later. Like the actual valuing of the quality of my life came
Mhm.
a little later. But I grew up playing sports, and my dad really was invested in sports himself, and he wanted his children to be exposed to as many opportunities where they could have, I guess similarly to what he had, which was, we all of my siblings, and I have three siblings or two siblings, and all of my siblings and my dad were all very um, inspired by like just playing and using the body to
Yep.
participate, and I think there's another aspect to it, like being a part of a team and, holding a leadership role and a role in being able to work together towards a common goal. Um, but so growing up, I really found a lot of joy in sports, and I continued to seek to fulfill that. And I played soccer growing up, and that kind of took me pretty far. It took me to college. I played collegiate soccer, and then so the inspiration was always on the performance side of things.
Mhm.
Because I was really good at soccer, from my perception, others were telling me that I was really good at soccer as well. So I had achieved a lot of like inspiration, a lot of excitement around competing and playing sports. And so I knew also when I was in school and I would take certain classes that had to do with biology or anatomy and physiology, I could see how my love for soccer and these classes were like they were coalescing and helping me understand
Mhm.
how to perform better, how to play better. So I really wanted to be a high performer in soccer, and so that's what led me to wanting to be a strength and conditioning coach originally. And yeah, that gradually shifted when I got to grad school. Um, the strength and conditioning coaching route wasn't actually, I realized that wasn't what my heart was on fire for.
Mhm.
Um, and that's also when I had a pretty powerful shift to include not just fitness, but an understanding that, our health is dependent upon how well we understand our well-being.
Yep.
And so I was just absolutely devouring books, learning and reading in all other areas of our well-being,
Mhm.
to develop my own perspective, my own philosophy. And, in a nutshell, without going into a ton of detail, that is kind of the path, but my interest in health was inspired through my own health
Yep.
challenges and my
Mhm.
own pain and my own suffering. That's what led me to value and appreciate myself and my life on a much deeper level eventually, when I actually received the lessons that life was attempting to offer me. So
Yeah.
that's why the title is what it is for me at this phase in my life, and where a lot of that stems from.
Okay. Well, that's great. So let's yeah, thank you for like all that background and stuff. So people have a bit of a sense of who you are. And we started working together at the end of last year from a marketing point of view around sort of taking what you have and what you want to do, and this you have this sense of what your inspired destiny is and what you want to take into the world and everything like that. And so the work we've done with the marketing has been taking steps toward you being able to do that and be able to fill that vision, which
Yeah.
which you have, and which you have. And we like there have been the from a marketing point of view, it's easy for people to think, well, they're each business is different. Like I've got a accounting or bookkeeping business, or I've got a pizza business or whatever, and think that it's different and marketing is different. And there are unique things for each kind of industry, but the basics of it is there are four key basics which are common to any business. Every business needs awareness. Every business needs to make their ideal customers, not like people who could potentially be their ideal customers, learn about them for the first time. Then the next stage is leads. So you need like taking those people who have become aware of the business and providing them with some kind of valuable content that gets them to put up their hand, identify themselves as a lead, and start there. And then obviously once you have a lead, you want to convert that lead into a customer, and then that's sales. And then once you've made a sale, you want to keep those customers for as long as you can. I marketing is based on the stages of human intimacy, and some people go into business and their mindset is they're looking at it for they're looking at it from the perspective of they're approaching businesses like, let's have a casual hookup, a one night stand. They want to make the sale, and that's all they care about. But then you've got people whose approach to business is like they're looking for marriage. They're looking for like a long-term relationship that mutually beneficial and forming a community and a relationship, rather than just a one-time sale. Because if you know anything about business, you lose you with the cost of getting that customer in the first place, you lose the business up front. So you and I, we started out by working on your like creating your custom avatars and stuff. So do you want to talk about what that sort of process was like?
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it can look different for certain individuals, and where they're at in their process. Because when I met you, um, just before I met you, I had decided, I deserve this. This is what I want to do. I'm going for it. And I just allowed myself to like own my ability to help someone obtain a transformation or create a transformation in their physical well-being. Um, and that led me to acquire 2 clients early on before I met you.
Hmm.
And then throughout our conversations, I had acquired another 2 clients. So we had 4 clients to work from and create ideal client avatars from, just to kind of like start giving me an idea of, I mean, it was really an insightful process to go through with you, because one of the most difficult things that I've had to transition within my own psychology is, you mentioned social selling the other day on a meeting we were on. I think that is like, you know, when you're going from not having a business and posting on social media and just being you, to then like saying you want to have a business and then posting on social media for to satisfy and fulfill the business side of things, your entire approach has to shift, on some level, because what you're posting on social media before business, it could be very random and just all over the place,
Yeah.
with no clear, like, streamlined understanding of what is this, who is this individual, what are they like offering, what's the value they're giving, to then figuring out what that is for yourself. That was the most insightful process I went through, because I didn't have clarity around my message. I didn't have clarity around, my gifts, my unique skills, and how they all like could be combined to create a product and service. I had a general idea, but it was really going into the weeds and digging into things and also breaking down the clients that I had and putting them into a visual aid with that avatar worksheet
Yeah.
that allowed me to start seeing like, oh, wow, this is like the transformational process on this sheet that I'm looking at. And, it's been really challenging, but overall, these necessary steps have been really helpful for me in the process to get clarity around my message and my unique offering and my niche and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that any business which is engaging a marketing agency or engaging a copywriter or engaging an SEO firm, any kind of marketing company, if they don't start by creating, whether they call it a custom avatar like I do, or whether they call it a buyer persona, whatever they call it, if they're not doing that work with you to help you identify, to help you get that clarity, like you're saying, then they're wasting your time and money and stuff, because you mentioned what Tim Hughes, who wrote the book Social Selling, calls random acts of social. You're just firing off things without having an idea of who you're actually talking to and stuff. But the customer avatars, they're important to sort of find your tribe. But then once within your tribe, you then want to, this is go back to social selling, you want to be building like one-on-one personal relationships with people. You want to be because within that customer avatar being like a general guide, but each person is an individual and wants to be treated as an individual, wants to be treated as someone that rather than, they don't want to be a number. They don't want to be just a name on your email subscriber list, or they don't want to be just one of your followers on social media. They want to have that one-on-one connection. They want to be that one-on-one. And this is, you're a really likable person. You're someone that's likable. You've got obviously a lot of knowledge in that health and fitness space, and like you said, you're very widely read and everything. So you're interesting. You've got a lot of stuff to be able to engage with people and stuff. You've got very authentic, you've got a very, your story. You do have a great story, and people want to get into that. People want to become part of your story, and people want to work with you and go into that sort of next step.
Yeah, well, I think like understanding your story is a huge step as well. Like part of like where business stems from, right? At least for me, is I knew that I wanted my business to be soul aligned. I want it to come from my heart and soul. And in knowing that, I guess life put me on the path, so to speak, and inspired me to move in the direction of the books, the individuals, the coaching support, the you and other business coaches that I've worked with that have helped me unpack my past and make meaning and understanding around it, to understand how my past kind of led me to who I am and where I am, and then how I can use that to inspire others. That was also a really fundamental necessary piece that without those two things I couldn't like move forward
Yeah.
effectively and continuing to build my business and actually uh, obtain clientele and connect with people. I mean, of course, I could connect with people, but to actually know why we're connecting and what transformation we're seeking to create, that stuff wouldn't have been clear.
Yeah, and and then the other big thing which we're like that we've been working together with is you've got all of this knowledge and stuff like that, and you've been working with success. You already know where I'm going with this, but organizing that into a process that you can basically to be able you can working that out so that you've got your process that you're guiding people through, so that your journey is like mapped out, so
Yeah.
people are starting that. So talk about that, because
Well, that's an ongoing thing. I've learned that's like one of the more difficult things for me has been, you know, I was devouring books and acquiring knowledge, and I was inspired to just write and write and write. And, I had hundreds of loose leaf papers and like stacks and little sticky notes with just inspiring thoughts and quotes. And it's just all, over the place, so to speak. So the last year and a half has been me gradually creating a system and getting like going through all those loose leaf papers, like consolidating the ideas, seeing how they link together, seeing what the theme is, finding out like what am I always writing about? Because that's the thing that I'm going to speak to just so succinctly and the most passionately, so to speak. Figuring that out and then organizing it into a system and an approach, like where I can go to Google Drive or whatever storage I'm using and like understand and start mapping out what is my framework when I work with people. What is
Yeah.
the process to take them through? All of that stuff I had no freaking clue about. It was like I knew that I could connect deeply with people. I knew that I have like an ability to like hear into like and see into individuals like
Yeah.
underlying challenges in a way that maybe they weren't able to see because they were like stuck in it. But actually knowing how to like knowing what process I wanted to take people through wasn't clear for me. So, we've spent a lot of time talking about that. It's been super helpful. It's still something that I'm working on, but I know that that's going to be a really important step
Mm.
to be able to give the transformation that I want to give to people. Because without that process, that like, what's the framework, what's the strategy, and then what are the tactics, and how can you use those tactics, in flow? Like, how can I take what I have and kind of wherever an individual is in their life, how can I take my framework, my strategies, my tactics, and kind of plug them in for their unique, specific, individualized needs?
Yeah.
I'm seeing how important that is. I'm seeing how helpful that is, and it's evolving though. It's definitely not. Beautiful thing is, I without your help, I wouldn't have mapped out the framework that's sitting on my soul. Like, it was something I intuitively knew. I didn't need anybody to tell me. I intuitively knew these are the pillars of a sustainable health transformation in life.
Mm.
If we can understand this framework and this perspective, this overarching broad view of our well-being and what's creating it, then we have a much higher probability of achieving it, because
Yeah.
you can't achieve something that you're not aware of. You can't make a decision around something that you don't know or understand. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's been powerful, but it's still in the
Yeah.
it's still in the creation phase.
And the other thing there is, you know, up till now you've been like working one on one with people, and local people, people person, like in person, and to be able to fulfill your inspired destiny again. And like part of the reason why we're doing this, I mean, what I've been pushing you around this framework is because it's going to be important for you to be able to do what you do with many people at
Right.
once,
Like,
or
create a
or
book or a course or
mm,
blog posts, all those various ways of reaching people.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I see
and,
that.
yeah, and yeah, and and then of course, um, there, yeah, exactly, and of course, books and courses and things that people don't have that personal connection with you. They're not dealing with you like personally, and so you've got to be able to be clear and simple so that people can understand your process and follow your process. And actually, yeah, you mentioned the breakthrough experience before. It's like, if you read this book and you actually do the work and do the, this is like an older, that the quantum collapse process in here is actually, a much older version now than what's currently used, because Dr. Divinity keeps updating it. But it's kind of like, you can read the book and get the experience, and that's the basis for wanting to, being at, like, the reason why you want to develop that framework.
Yeah, like, you can read the book and you can experience some degree of transformation. And I think you and I have talked about this, and maybe it was with my other coach, but it's like, each of the things you create, like the book was a stepping stone to give you a little taste
Mm,
of the real profundity that you experience through a deeper diving exposure to John one on
yeah,
one or in
yeah,
person. So the book gives you a little taste of the power and the magic of his life and his story, and the framework that's been developed through his life experiences and his knowledge that he's gained. And it gives you just enough taste to be like, oh my God, who's this guy?
yeah,
I'm loving what I'm tasting.
yeah.
I want to, I want to get a whole popsicle or something.
Yeah. Well, you read one of John's books and you can consume it at your own pace. You go to one of John's public events, and the experience is like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, but let's sort of like talk about, because people can connect with you. They can start with you, and start with weight loss. Like, weight loss has been the focus of what you've been doing, but that's only the beginning of the journey, and your health is like so much more than
Yeah.
just losing weight. And so sort of and yeah, and so you get people who if the weight loss thing was the be all and end all of what you do, then you constantly need to be, you'd be like going back to what we were talking before about casual hookups. So it's a casual hookup kind of approach to business. But this is just, it's a starting point for a lot of people in that sort of health journey. So do you want to talk a bit about like the journey beyond? Like, imagine I've worked with you and I'm now slim and fit and fantastic. Like, what's the journey beyond just reaching your ideal weight?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just got chills because this is a kind of inquiry. This is the kind of question that really sets me on fire. Like when I think about health and well-being and what it's really truly all about, what it serves, what its purpose is in our lives. Um, the entire essence of my teaching, my philosophy is, that there is no destination in your health, but
Mm,
people may assume that there is. People may want there to be a destination, but the reality is, if there was a destination, then there would be no reason to keep living.
yeah,
Like, it's the journey that you're experiencing that gives you every quality and texture of life that makes it meaningful. And so to answer your question, like what's beyond, what is like when a person reaches their ideal weight, they're satisfied with their body. Well, the reality is you get satisfied with your weight, but then there are different aspects and qualities about your body that you then bring attention and care and
mm,
focus to, such as learning how to take care of your brain for longevity, for living a long life with
yeah,
healthy mental functioning, and learning how to take care of, your gut, and continuing to nurture these different aspects of your body in a holistic way so that you can continue to experience deeper and deeper quality of life. Not
yeah,
just a long life, but a life that, feels
mm,
good, that is enjoyable. And with someone who's like in shape, someone who's relatively in good shape, I will still touch on, very powerful interventions to help them continue to even refine their ideal weight more, because it's really endless. The potential of vitality that the body can achieve is it's infinite. I don't think there's a cap on how
yeah,
vital you can become.
yeah,
Eh, so I still help them refine how their relationship is with their body, and still helping them refine, the health of their biology and their cells and mitochondria and all that. But I also help them see that your health is meant to serve your purpose in life.
yeah,
It's when whenever you whenever you have a reason to live that's meaningful and inspiring to you, you can immediately see that the health that you experience is directly correlated and actually, causative.
mm,
Your health causes you to be able to pursue a purpose that's meaningful to you, to live a life that's meaningful. And
Yeah.
so that's where I just help people, at that point you're figuring out what your mission is, you're identifying your purpose, your reason for being, your why, what kind of impact, what kind of contribution do you want to have in the world?
Yeah.
What are your specific strengths, your interests? What lights you on fire? What's your highest values? These are the kind of domains and the kind of different areas that I would gradually take someone or introduce someone to, and start giving them exercises to identify these things for themselves so that they can awaken to their own inner voice and they can
Yeah.
start listening to their own authentic, true desire.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell the essence of my philosophy. And
Yeah.
it's all about a journey of self-discovery with no destination. You
Right.
just keep moving. Yeah.
And I just had an insight there that, you and I are doing the same thing, but from, is it your Brady Heath cup? No.
No, this is a mug my partner got me.
Okay.
It's got various pictures on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's just, but yeah, it's, yeah, but like I just had this insight that you and I are doing the same thing in a different, from a different angle. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
we're both about increasing people's self-worth, and and addressing that lack of love that people can often have for themselves. You address it in regards to like health, vitality, well-being, and I do it in terms of economically, like business and finance, and helping people place a financial value on themselves. And you do it in a way of placing a value on yourself, so that people make choices that are connected to that improve their well-being, improve their vitality. Keep and talking about that journey part as well. I just want to touch on that, but um, it's like I have bipolar disorder, and I'm quite open about having bipolar disorder, and I've stayed well. I stay well. I've used stay well for a long time, but I use, like, I have one medication which I'm on all the time, or a drug as you guys call in the States, but then I have another medication which I only use as needed. And I had severe bronchitis for several months, from the end of last year into the start of this year, and the cough was so bad that it affected my health and stuff. So I went back on to, the lack of sleep impacted my mental health. So I went back on to this other medication that I'm not normally on, and this other medication, it increases my appetite. And not just, and I've noticed it doesn't just increase my appetite and make me want to eat more. It makes me want to eat more of particular kinds of food, and they're not the good kinds.
Yeah, that's a tough. I mean, it would. I don't know the nature of the medication. It would, also be wise to consider like how much power we're giving that belief,
Mm-hmm.
as well. I don't doubt that medications influence our hormones and stuff like that, and strategies can be created and environments can be changed, and to support us in those endeavors that we're seeking. Sounds like you're seeking to eat cleaner, to become more aware of how you're eating, and obviously that's a fundamental part to achieving ideal body weight long term.
Mm.
Um, so you will be required, as time goes on, obligated, if you truly desire, to achieve ideal weight, to really check in with that belief and find a strategy that works for you that doesn't look like you giving your power away
Yeah.
to the medication as if you're powerless on some level. But that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. This is like the perfect segue into talking about the art of relaxation, which we'll get to, but we're just about to get to. But Sean Tucker, Sean Tucker, who we both know, who is a well-being coach here in Australia, here in my city in Melbourne, and Sean is, like Sean and I had a conversation around, caffeine and stuff, and just because of my chronotype, I think he called it. He recommended that. So I stopped. The short version is I stopped drinking caffeine, but recently with the art of relaxation and your protocol in there of like drinking the coffee before you go down for the nap, I've started doing that again, but only have that one carb in the middle of the day when I have that nap. So just to explain what we're talking about. So Brady and I have been working on creating a lead magnet for him, something really valuable. And this is super valuable what he's created, which is the Art of Relaxation ebook and a guided meditation audio that guides you through like a complete nap. And the ebook is sort of the explanation and tells you what to do to get the most out of the audio. And so we're just about to launch that so that it's up and available for people to be able to get. But yeah, because having we spoke earlier on about having you need to create awareness and let people know about what you're doing, but you need to be offering something of value to turn them, like for people to put their hands up and say, I'm a lead. I want to, I'm open to the possibility of doing business with you. And so that's why we've created this. So you want to talk about the sort of the creation, like the process of, what it's been, how, creating like art of relaxation and everything.
Well, I can. I'll start first by saying that's the first of many, 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 many amazing experiences to come through this offering of meditation and mindfulness practices, and intentionally infusing our lives with these, what I like to think about is like pressing the pause button. It's like most people won't and most people can't, for various reasons. But I think when you finally decide that it's important to pause, when you finally value pausing, and you recognize the importance of interspersing your day with these moments of deep breaths and guided meditations and short walks in between hours of working, exposure to sunshine, exposure to cold water on the face throughout the day. All these little simple things that can offer you a quick moment to ground yourself in your body and embody a deeper sense of presence. So that's what it's all about. It's, when we're working, we're doing a lot of mental activity.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of effort and there's a bit of strain that develops potentially. And, the whole point of the art of relaxation is to help people alleviate and to let go of that natural that natural mental fatigue that develops throughout the day. This is particularly useful for individuals who, there's various uses for it, but I really think that, naps are a helpful strategy as you're continuing to improve and optimize your sleep patterns and optimize your
Yeah.
circadian rhythm through various
Yeah.
other important practices. Um, and the art of relaxation isn't meant to be like the antidote. It's meant to
Yeah.
be a tool that you can use on certain days when maybe you didn't get a
Mm.
good night's rest. Um, maybe you're working really hard throughout the day, and you're feeling really tired or you're mentally fatigued. It's a great opportunity to hit the pause button for 20 to
Yeah.
30 minutes, because it really does revitalize your entire being. It's a
Yeah.
very powerful practice, but it came out of this deep desire that I have to create guided meditations. And that's where it originated from. Originally, I created it for myself. I noticed that I get tired about 1 or 2 o'clock. This was a while back. Now I don't experience that as much, but
Mm.
as I was building my business and in the initial stages of optimizing my sleeping habits, I think it's natural. Like, most people are fatigued, have adrenal fatigue, have thyroid issues, have all these things that impact their energy levels throughout the day.
Hmm.
And I think I was definitely a candidate of that, but I think I've healed some of that. So
Hmm.
I've created quite a few guided meditations, and I find them to be really helpful tools to um, direct the mind, direct our attention in a
Hmm.
meaningful and intentional way. Because God knows the mind can just go off on a rift and go off into a story that
Yeah.
then leads to certain behaviors, that then leads to certain unproductive activities, or then leads to certain emotional states.
Yeah.
And we get to the end of the day and we didn't even realize that we just fell into a story of victimization or blame or anger or frustration because our thoughts, we weren't paying attention. We weren't present enough to be aware of how we were choosing to think. And so these guided meditations that I create are really helpful to help guide your attention, create balance, and
Yeah.
then restore the mind a bit
Yeah.
so that you can keep being productive, or
Mm.
just living in a state that
Yeah. Yeah.
allows you to keep experiencing and being in touch with
Mm.
your joy and a more relaxed state, a less stressful state.
Yeah. And yeah, because in the audio you talk about like your natural state is peace, and you talk
Yeah.
about you talk about that in this guided meditation. And look, I've done many guided sleep like nap meditations and things like that. What I found, and what really impressed me with the art of relaxation, is that the art of relaxation is even like now I've started doing it with a cup of coffee, like but before I was doing that, when I was just doing it without the coffee, it was still like a jolt of caffeine. It was like a caffeine fix, because it would just reset the clock. And there's and you know this far better than me. There's research that like 20 minutes is like the ideal nap time. The art of relaxation goes for 22 minutes. Not that I'm counting, uh, but it's great because it's bang on the exact amount of time. And you're talking about, you mentioned just now that around your sort of 1 to 2 o'clock is when your sort of energy used to dip. And um, many like like I first got into the idea of taking a nap around that 1 to 2 p.m. time for 20 minutes from Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, I think it's Les Brown, in their book The Power of Focus, which I read back in the late 2000s, that's where I first picked it up. And then of course Matthew Walker in Why We Sleep also talks about the power of in napping, and there's a lot more evidence now around supporting the power of napping, and you're using napping as a strategy for that. But there's so much though of what you do, which is like your journey is just beginning. The art of relaxation, lead magnet is just about to go up. I mean, in terms of the this show that we're on is all things marketing and stuff, and this is the first thing which any there's the three. We've spoken about the three things tonight, which which, whether you're a health and fitness business or whether you're any business, you need to do these three things. You need to work out who you're actually targeting, and that's the custom avatar, the buyer persona, which is a fictional representation of who your ideal group of customers are. And then Brady spoke about your story, the story that you're telling, and then this third thing is having a lead magnet, because there's no point focusing on that first stage of awareness and raising awareness about your business if you've got no way, if you don't have anything set up to be able to capture get the attention of the people that you're promoting and stuff. So we may have done this a little bit backward tonight, because we're live streaming and stuff, and the lead magnet, as it's called lead magnet, but the art of relaxation is almost available, not quite yet. It's we're on the tail end of finishing that off. You've got we're making one tiny change to one of the graphics, and our email copywriter Show, who was on last week, is doing the email series, so that people who get it are going to have be welcomed and get to learn a bit more about Brady and his world. But yeah, do you have any sort of, we're coming toward the end of our time, do you have any sort of closing thoughts that you want to share?
Well, I think it's pretty powerful, what has taken place so far. It's I will speak to something I was sharing with you on our last call this past week, is the ebb and flow of the certainty and the confusion or the self-doubt that comes with growing a business and understanding yourself more deeply and knowing who you are, and further getting to know who you are, and believing that you're someone who has the power to make a meaningful difference and contribution in the world, and then doing the inner work and doing the work necessary to figure out how to do that. It's quite a journey. In essence, it's quite a journey to go through that. And sometimes I think that I'm not in the right place, or that I'm lagging behind, or that I'm but it's all feeding into more creation. It's all feeding into that next step. And so I just really appreciate the work that we've done, the support that you've given me. I really appreciated this conversation, this time of reflection that we've been able to share, and hopefully maybe this touches somebody's heart on some level, or it leads them to realize something new and insightful and helpful for themselves. And otherwise, let's just keep on going. It's all perfect. We're on the path, and I appreciate you, Daniel.
And I appreciate you too, Brady. It's been, for me, like, yeah, relationship and stuff. It was that turning point between, like I started, my marketing agency in 2018, but from 2018 up until the point when you and I started working together, it was just me personally, servicing the clients. And my source of leads was my email newsletter, which goes out each week. And I didn't need anything more than that because it was full. I had as many people as I could work with. But then, starting from you, I've started to, build a team, and so now got a team of people with a broader range of specialties and stuff, because there's so much, like you said, there's so much in business to do, so much you can focus on and stuff. And of course, so yeah, like like working with you, working together with you, it's been a real partnership. Both of us have been getting so much out of the time, and I appreciate each time we get together and everything. And there's no way, of course, that I'm going to end this this without a call to action. And the call to action is to connect with Brady on LinkedIn. If you're not connected with Brady on LinkedIn, I mean, obviously you can see his name right there. You're not going to mistake his face. He's got a very it's a very very classic sort of superhero faces. It's like, yeah. So connect with Brady on LinkedIn, and if you're start a conversation with Brady. If you're interested in finding out about working with him, whether it's with weight management or other well-being things. Like, start a conversation with Brady. As they say, slide into his DMs.
I welcome it.
Yeah. So thank you very much for your time, Brady, and yeah, I'll see everybody else next week. On next week's All Things Marketing.
All right, thanks, Daniel.